Hey everyone, how you doing? My name is Kristian. For those of you who don't know me, I'm married to Pippa. She did a talk a few weeks back. You may want to go back and listen to that one instead of watching this one. It was solid. I am dad to Joshua and I am emotional support human to Nala the Vizsla. Today we are continuing talking about the book of Ecclesiastes and talking about a time to be silent and a time to speak up. I'm not going to do much in the way of introducing the book of Ecclesiastes. There is an incredible project that you can go and check out called the Bible Project. Do go and have a look at their work on Ecclesiastes. Interesting stuff on who wrote it, all that stuff, and actually how we should understand the word vanity in all its vanity and what that actually means. Exciting stuff, no spoilers here, go and check it out. So today we are going to be talking about in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it out now, but I'm going to read the intro to the chapter, and then I'm going to read the verse. I'm going to jump down a few lines, so maybe don't try and follow, just listen. Chapter 3, reading from the NIV. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be silent and a time to speak. There are so many things that we could say about silence and speaking with the situation we find ourselves in globally. I am neither smart enough nor knowledgeable enough to speak into all those situations if I had 1,000 hours, let alone 5 minutes. So what I'm going to talk about is general principles for silence and speaking up. At the moment, I realise I read a lot of business books. And I was only reading business books, and I thought, do you know what? I need to get some different books into my life. So I found a project called the Renovare Project. I'm not 100% sure I said that right. Renovare, let's go with it. And what they do is they give you 4 books to read over the course of a year, and then you discuss them in community, because we love a nerdy book club. And at the moment, we're reading a book called How to Pray by Pete Greig. And it's a wonderful, wonderful book, and I would encourage you to have a look at it. And one of the things that's been an absolute game changer for me at the moment is the idea of silence in prayer. He uses the acronym PRAY. Pause, rejoice, ask, nearly forgot, and yield. So at the very beginning, we're just going to talk about pausing in prayer. I don't know about you, when you hear the phrase silence, some of you will be like, yes, silence, finally, he's going to tell us we don't have to talk to anyone. And others, you, the extroverts amongst us, will be saying, oh no, he's going to say that we have to be quiet, this is going to be awful. What I'm going to say is there is a time for both. When we talk about silence, the pausing in prayer has been one of the most wonderful things for me at the moment. Not rushing in with a list, not rushing in with requests, just taking a brief moment just before the start of prayer to pause and sit in silence, allowing your senses to understand a little bit more who God is. I encourage you this week to have a look at that for the simple reason of, not only did Pete Greig say it, clever guy, but Jesus modelled it as well. When we see Jesus, when we look at the picture of his life, there was a lot asked of Jesus, and there is so many things that could have been overwhelming, even just in the day-to-day, in people wanting to talk to him constantly, etc., etc. And one of the ways that Jesus dealt with that was saying, I need some time to get away and just have some silence. Those moments of silence are what can power the next journey and the next steps and the next stage of what you need to speak into. I think that's where we want to start. A time to be silent. I believe there should be time for silence every single day to come before God and say, God, who are you? Who am I? And what does that mean for what I'm going to be going into today? When we talk about a time to speak, I believe that silence can empower us being able to speak into the situations that we are called to. Again, I don't have enough knowledge or minutes to be able to list every situation that we could have to speak into as a community. But what I do know is that we are all called to speak into specific situations. When we take those moments of silence to understand who God is and who we are and truly wrestle with those questions, I believe that can only have an amazing impact for when we do speak into situations. I don't have the same sphere of influence as you don't have the same sphere of influence as me, but what the consistent is, we are called to this exact time of life. God trusted you so much that he said, in the year 2020, during a coronavirus pandemic, I'm going to trust you with this sphere of influence. What we want to say is that I believe that God can speak through you. Not for the reason of getting people to, just for the reason of coming to church or to know God or whatever else, but just because you are called to be a loving person in this community of West Sussex. Taking time for silence is vital, and then hearing what you believe God is asking you to say, working that out with humility in community and saying, what are you asking me to speak into? Some of the most amazing projects that we've seen come through Arun are in our community work and being able to speak and love people just because it's the right thing to do. The time that we find ourselves in now gives us even more of an opportunity to do that. When we speak, we want to be able to speak with the power and authority prophetically into a situation with the words that God has given us in that time, one-on-one with Him. There is a time for silence, and that time is not just for getting the information to go, it's because we just want to hang out with God. But actually, when we do take that time of silence and we move into what we're supposed to speak into, I believe that we will move in amazing and powerful things and see the whole community loved. What better way to spend a life? This week, try and take some time for silence, even if it's just before you start to pray, just a brief moment. One of the tools that you can have a look at is the prayer course, and look at the tool shed for some ideas of how to engage with silence and prayer. One of the great things is just taking a second. It's not true silence, but just reflection. Breathe in, our Father, breathe out, in heaven. Our Father in heaven. And actually turning your eyes to a wonderful God. Look at those other letters, rejoicing, asking and yielding, and saying, God, who are you? Who am I? What would you have me say in this day? Have a good week.